When Maya and Arjun arrived at the village, they were greeted with suspicion and curiosity by the villagers, who eyed them warily as they rode through the narrow streets. But Maya and Arjun paid them no mind, their thoughts consumed by the need to find shelter and safety. They stopped at the village inn, where they were met by the innkeeper, a kindly old man with a withered face and a twinkle in his eye. He listened to their story with interest, offering them a room for the night and a warm meal to fill their bellies. "You are welcome to stay as long as you like," the innkeeper said, his voice gruff but kind. "We may be a humble village, but we take care of our own. You'll find no trouble here." Grateful for his hospitality, Maya and Arjun accepted his offer, settling into their room with a sense of relief. As they lay together in the warmth of the bed, they felt a sense of peace wash over them, grateful for the chance to rest and regroup after their harrowing escape. In the days that followed, Maya and Arjun settled into their new life in the village, finding solace in the simple pleasures of everyday existence. They rented a small cottage on the outskirts of town, where they could live together in peace and privacy, far from the prying eyes of the world. Arjun continued to work as a woodcarver, using his skills to earn a modest living for himself and Maya. He would spend his days in his workshop, carving intricate designs and lifelike sculptures out of wood, while Maya tended to their home and tended to the needs of their neighbors. Despite the hardships they faced, Maya and Arjun found happiness in each other's company, their love growing stronger with each passing day. They would spend their evenings strolling through the village hand in hand, their laughter echoing through the streets as they shared stories and dreams of the future. But little did they know, their newfound happiness would soon be threatened by forces beyond their control, as the past came back to haunt them in ways they could never have imagined. One day, as Maya was returning from the market, she overheard a group of villagers gossiping in hushed tones about a stranger who had been asking questions about her and Arjun. Alarmed, Maya hurried home to warn Arjun of the danger that lurked on their doorstep. "Arjun, we need to leave this village," Maya said, her voice urgent. "Someone is asking questions about us, and I fear that they may be spies sent by my father to find us." Arjun's face paled at the news, his hands trembling with fear. "But where will we go, Maya?" he asked, his voice filled with desperation. "We can't keep running forever." Maya bit her lip, her mind racing with possibilities. "There's a neighboring kingdom not far from here," she said, her voice determined. "We can seek refuge there until we can come up with a plan." With that, they packed their belongings and set off once more, leaving behind the village that had become their home in search of safety and sanctuary. As Maya and Arjun traveled through the countryside, they kept a low profile, avoiding the main roads and sticking to the backwoods and hidden paths where they were less likely to be seen. They knew that they were being hunted, and they dared not take any chances that could jeopardize their safety. But despite their caution, danger seemed to lurk around every corner, as they encountered suspicious villagers and wary travelers who eyed them with suspicion. Maya and Arjun had no choice but to keep moving, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they were being pursued by forces beyond their control. "We need to find somewhere to lay low for a while," Maya said, her voice weary from the long days of travel. "Somewhere we can hide until the danger passes." Arjun nodded in agreement, scanning the landscape for signs of shelter. "There's a cave up ahead," he said, pointing towards a rocky outcrop in the distance. "We can seek refuge there until we can come up with a plan." With that, they quickened their pace, eager to reach the safety of the cave before nightfall. As Maya and Arjun approached the cave, they were startled to hear voices coming from within. Cautiously, they crept closer, careful not to make a sound as they listened to the conversation unfolding inside. "We must find them before it's too late," a voice said, filled with urgency. The king will not rest until he has his daughter back under his control. Maya's heart raced with fear as she realized that the voices belonged to the king's soldiers, who had been sent to capture her and Arjun. They were closing in on them, and if they were discovered, there would be no escaping the king's wrath. "We need to find another way," Arjun whispered, his voice tight with fear. "We can't risk being captured." With that, they turned and fled into the forest, their hearts pounding with adrenaline as they raced through the trees, their pursuers hot on their heels. They knew that they had to find a way to escape, or else their love would be doomed before it had a chance to truly blossom. They were captured by the king's soldiers, their dreams of freedom shattered in an instant. They were taken back to the kingdom and thrown into the dungeons beneath the palace. Arjun and Maya faced an uncertain fate. The king's wrath knew no bounds as he vowed to punish them for their defiance, leaving them to languish in darkness. Despite their dire circumstances, Arjun refused to lose hope. He reassured Maya that they would find a way to escape, for their love was stronger than any prison bars. Desperate to escape their impending doom, Arjun struck a deal with the king. He promised to use his skills as a woodcarver to craft the finest works of art the kingdom had ever seen in exchange for their freedom, and so the king will allow him marry his daughter. Reluctantly, the king agreed, though his heart remained filled with hatred for the young couple. As Arjun toiled away in the palace workshop, Maya's heart grew heavy with worry. She knew that their freedom came at a steep price, and she feared what the king might do to them once he had grown tired of their services. Unbeknownst to Arjun and Maya, the king had no intention of honoring his end of the bargain. Instead, he plotted to dispose of them once and for all, his hatred for their love burning brighter with each passing day. But fate had other plans in store for the king. Just as he was about to put his nefarious scheme into motion, he encountered a problem of his own. A mysterious illness began to ravage his body, leaving him weak and bedridden despite the efforts of the kingdom's finest physicians. In a desperate bid to save her father, Princess Maya begged the king to allow Arjun to try his hand at healing. Though skeptical, the king had no choice but to agree, for all other avenues had been exhausted. With gentle hands and a heart full of love, Arjun began to heal the king using the ancient techniques passed down to him by his father. With each touch, he infused the king's body with warmth and light, driving away the darkness that had consumed him. To the amazement of all who witnessed it, the king's health began to improve with each passing day. His strength returned, his vigor renewed, all thanks to the miraculous healing powers of Arjun. Arjun and Maya rejoiced, believing that the king's healing would lead to his acceptance of their love. However, they were taken aback when he persisted in opposing their union, and the situation grew even more challenging. Arjun's healing touch had saved the king's life, yet his heart remained imprisoned. The king, torn between gratitude and suspicion, kept Arjun confined within the cold stone walls of the palace. His mind churned with treacherous thoughts. How could a mere woodcarver possess such power? The king feigned kindness. He granted Arjun a spacious chamber, adorned with silken tapestries and golden lamps. But the door remained locked, and guards stood vigilant, their eyes ever watchful. The king's enmity simmered beneath his regal facade. One moonless night, the king summoned Arjun. The chamber smelled of jasmine and intrigue. The king's eyes bore into Arjun's soul. "Woodcarver," he said, "you healed me, but your intentions remain murky. Prove your love for Maya." Arjun's heart raced. "How, my lord?" The king produced a jeweled chalice, a vessel of poison. "Drink," he commanded. "If your love for Maya is true, this poison shall spare you." Arjun hesitated. The chalice trembled in his hands. Maya's face danced before his eyes, the curve of her lips, the warmth of her touch. He drank, the poison searing his throat. Darkness enveloped him. Maya stood in the shadows, her breath caught between hope and dread. She hoped Arjun's love would prevail. But what if it didn't?